There's a million jokes,
Mm-hmm.
a million different ways. I could pun this, I could
Okay.
joke it, I
Mm-hmm.
could sarcastic, or I could just be blunt. We're going to go with blunt.
Okay.
Windows Recall has been delayed again,
Yeah,
again. Like
I
it's
know. I'm confused. I'm confused by a lot of things, I guess, but I'm confused by like how strongly some people feel about this feature and like
oh,
how
it has
much they
nothing to
hate
do
it.
with the feature.
I know, no, it's crazy. Like, and how many times you have to explain the same things over and over again, and it's like, guys, if you don't want it, just don't. You don't even
Right.
own a computer that can have it. What are you worried about? I,
The thing that's crazy to me is if you would have gone back to build was in May, right?
yep.
I was confused March and May. They both start with M, getting old.
I
Whatever.
wow.
If you would
Yep.
have gone back to then and said, here's what's going to happen. They just announced recall. Apple is going to announce their AI stuff. Apple is going to ship new hardware that will run their new AI stuff. And then they will deliver an update that brings you this AI stuff all before recall is even available to insiders. All of us would have been like, yeah, right. And then,
Yeah, the thing that's interesting. Well, the thing. There's so many things, but when they announced this, the striking bit to me, aside from the obvious, was you're not even going to test this. Like,
yeah,
I mean, obviously it was going out in preview, but they weren't going to test it. Like you kind of developed this thing and you were just going to put it on computers that you sold, and then you were going to test it. Like, it just didn't seem to make sense. But anyway, Microsoft 2024, like nothing they've done this year has made sense. So honestly, in the scope of like Windows 11 24H2 and all the other stuff, it's like, yeah, this is kind of par for the course. Like, it's just that I don't know, the March to May timeframe. I was trying to like knew that 24H2 would be this kind of dual release thing. Like there were two versions of it, and there were I don't know. To me, it's just like this year has just been. This year's been like this in mobile. Google, we would
yeah.
briefly mention this before the show. Like Google is changing the uh, what do you call it, the schedule, I guess, for Android. Like, so they're going to do the major release in the spring, not in the fall. But I mean, that's what Microsoft just did, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I, the whole world is just upside down now. So I don't know. This to me, all this is a weird kind of reference, but I always thought that the Consumer Electronics Show happened at the wrong time of year.
Oh, yeah,
You
it
know,
absolutely does. It
right? The
does.
holidays end, and all of a sudden we're like, all right, here's what's going to happen this
Yeah.
year. Maybe
IFA should be CES.
exactly. And they used to have Comdex had spring and fall, and then I feel like CES did too, or summer. Some I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But I feel like that's what's happening with platforms. Like they've always been on the wrong schedule, right? If you think about like the biggest selling times of the year in order, not chronological, but by volume, it has to be holiday, and then we'll call that like back to school, for lack of
Mm-hmm.
a better term. But like back to school kind of starts in June for some reason, but I'll call it September, and then that whole quarter. Like the schedule for these things should be built around that. Like there have been so many versions of Windows where like Vista gets delayed again or something. It's like, oh, they're not going to make the holiday season. The consumer version doesn't come out until January or February that year, whatever it was. Like, yeah, maybe just don't do it on that schedule. Like, just ship the
Mm-hmm.
thing. So maybe what Microsoft did with 24H2, I'm not going to say made sense because it didn't, but maybe that should have been the release for all versions, right? And maybe Android going to whatever that time for is, we'll call it first half of the year, makes sense. Apple can hit September because that's when they do new iPhones. I guess it doesn't matter over there too much, but you'll notice they didn't really hit that either, did they? They're doing at least 4-point updates, for the Apple Intelligence stuff. So maybe these arbitrary schedules could just change and it doesn't matter. I don't know. It's just so weird. I don't know. I guess this is what passes for drama in our stupid little industry.
Yeah, it's more so it's Microsoft saying they're going to ship something, then they're going to delay it, and then they're delaying it again. That is That is it. It's not the feature itself. I recall it is
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know if I'll use it yet. I gotta say, I don't even have an AI plus Copilot PC R2D2 thing that's gonna run this. But
Nice. So yes, in my own stupid little role in this stupid little industry, I have to say that the thing that's nagging me in the back of the brain is I criticize Microsoft a lot for not being transparent enough and not explaining what they're doing. You could look at Xbox this year and be like, guys, what the like, say something,
yeah,
So here's an example of Microsoft saying things, in this case about recall,
that's
and
true.
having to delay it 3 different times. And someone at Microsoft is saying, see, this is why we never say anything. And yeah, so it kind of stinks because I think the net impact of this on Microsoft is going to be negative in the sense that they're going to say, this is why you keep things close to the vest.
Well,
This is what happens when we talk about
should
it.
have said in June when they realized they screwed up is we will deliver the feature later this year.
Just later. How does that,
Yeah.
I mean, you could be, in this case, a little more vague, but yeah,
It also shows you how screwed up their initial outline was. Like, oh, we're just gonna add encryption to it. Like,
well,
that's,
okay. So by the way, most of the things they said they were going to add to it were actually already in the product. Like, and you can find it in the original documentation from May. Like, it really all was there. And I wrote about this at the time. They kept like Microsoft makes concessions on recall. It's like, do they? I mean, the only concession they made wasn't technical, but it was very important. It was going from opt out to opt in, which they kind of lied about at the launch, but whatever. And then eventually making it like, okay, look, you're going to be able to uninstall it. I wish that would just be the model for how Microsoft did things in Windows. Like, you should be able to opt in or say no to folder backup in OneDrive and then have that be the end of the discussion, but that's not how things work. And to me, the big victory with recall was not that like security researchers made a difference. They didn't. It's that Microsoft got a lot of bad feedback and they're like, all right, now we're going to let you uninstall this thing. It's like, there you go. So that to me should answer the complaints, but it doesn't. People still, like this thing's delayed and it's like, oh, good, I hate this feature. Hope they get rid of it. And it's like, why? If you don't want other people to enjoy something that might benefit them, like, what's the problem? Like,
yeah, I legitimately have no problem with the feature. Like, I
Right,
really
why
don't.
would
Like,
you?
to your point, just don't use it. That's fine. Turn it off.
There's lots of stupid crap in Windows I don't
Oh
use.
yeah.
So don't worry about it. It doesn't hurt me.
What's not in there though is Groove Music Maker. So let's not forget that.
Well,
Which was
your ability to hold a grudge may be unsurpassed. You may literally be the grandmaster.
jeez.
No, I'm serious. Like, it's funny. Like, your ability to summon something like that is really good. I would need to do calendar reminders. Like, I would never remember that. That's so funny.
Anyways, it'll show up.
Group
The
You're still
scary
waiting
thing,
for that, like a Surface cover thing that would do like the DJ thing. Remember that?
the here's the sort of scary thing about them saying December.
Yep.
December is a terrible time to promise the delivery of something, not because it's December, but because it is December. Like, you have Thanksgiving, which takes up approximately at best a week, if not more, for some people who take time off. And then the back half of December, like the last 2 weeks of a December, are basically a write-off, right?
Well, I think you're skating along the edge of this, which is the Windows team or Microsoft, whatever, disappears for the second half of the month. At the very least,
a lot of people do. A lot of people take time off because they got to burn PTO or whatever.
No, I know, but Microsoft specifically, I just know, having dealt with this company for so many years, like, you're not going to find anyone in that campus like from December 13th on or whatever.
Yeah,
so
like it's done.
I have a theory about that, by the way, though. I think I believe the actual thing they said was by December, and I think they'll probably celebrate this a little too much, but they'll deliver it in November somehow and be like, "Hey, we beat the schedule."
Oh my god, they better.
They got to, like, they're going to be like 6 months late, but they'll pretend it was like some huge victory. But I 100% agree with you. I don't. After the delays, and you're going to do it again, why would you even say a date?
That's the thing. Like, I'm surprised they actually said December.
Yep.
Whatever.
Why would you even say it?
They said it, not us. We're just here to poke the bear.
To take the punches. Yep.
or something.
Just stand in front of the punch.
I don't know. I take my punches every Sunday from the Bengals, so
Yeah.
just it's like I voluntarily choose to like this team and attach my emotional well-being to an organization that is not whatever. We're not talking.
I mean, I understand. That's all I can say. I've given up on that, but
I just like one Super Bowl win before I turned senile, which is occurring at a rapid pace.
right.
So, not happening this year. Anyways.
Sorry.
Intel had a not so great quarter, but a lot of that was, I don't want to say superfluous, because a lot of it was like a write down and allocating of costs and future things. But
Yeah, I could have. Maybe I should have been more clear about this in my own write up. The problem is I got off of a hour-long podcast recording, and it was like Intel, Amazon, Apple earnings all dropped.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to bang this out. But for all of the criticism and negativity around Intel, it was Pat Gelsinger who said, "Look, we got to bite the bullet on this and just get this out of the way."
Mhm.
And this is something that's very common when there's bad news in any company. If you are going to post something horrific, you might as well pile it on and make it a one-time hit, and we just mentioned Xbox. Like, I mean, Xbox did not do that this year with all of the layoffs and studio closings and everything. And it would have been more palatable or easily swallowed, whatever the term is, if they had all done this at one time. It just feels like this never-ending cascade of shit when they don't.
Mhm.
And so I think in Intel's case, they were like, look, Intel has not been having a horrible year all year. I mean, no one's been worried or hand-wringing about Intel all year. It's just that all of a sudden they had that really bad quarter. And I think this was them being like, look, we got to get past this. So like, just dump it all at once. And it just looks really bad. When you post a loss that's bigger than your revenue,
Mhm.
it doesn't seem like how are you still in business? But like you said, the vast majority of that was write-downs of assets, which could occur in an accounting sense at any time and could occur on a rolling basis. But they decided to just just take the whole thing at once.
I was trying to remember, and I think I found it. Remember, there was a time that Steve Ballmer, Microsoft had to do something, not on the same level, but like it was their first quarterly loss like ever under Ballmer, or maybe ever.
Maybe ever, yeah, probably.
I think it was 2012 is when that happened.
Jeez, bad timing too, because that was.
Oh wait, no,
the
maybe
whole
it's
Windows.
2016. Hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. I'm surprised it's that recent.
Oh no, hold on. Well, like I opened the link and it's from Wired.
Yep.
And you go to it.
Well,
hold on, maybe I should have read it more. Gosh, open the link.
man.
It says 4 years ago to the day Microsoft posted its first ever quarterly loss. So that's the headline. And
2012.
This article was posted in
Quantum,
2016, right? So that would be 2012. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
this was their right. So Microsoft tried to buy DoubleClick. I thought they had secured it. Google snatched it away. I don't know if you noticed, but Google's been doing pretty good with that stuff since then.
I'd say it's worked out favorably for them.
Yeah, so they bought the Zune version, and this company no one ever heard of called Aquantive, and then like not immediately, it took a few years, like 4 or 5 years, whatever it was, but they wrote down or wrote off, I can't remember which is which. I think the entire thing, right? Like it never went anywhere.
Yeah, they should have bought that other advertising company called Facebook at the time.
Yeah, I'm not sure we knew that's what they were at the time, though, right? I mean,
yeah,
was that even well understood? I don't know. But
yeah.
Well,
anyways,
they're making up for it now, Brad.
The other big thing that was announced, which I've already started playing with, is SearchGPT is now, anybody who has a paid subscription can now use this. We all know the ramifications here. If they can get it working well, it's transformative for OpenAI. It's also transformative for Google in the wrong way, but
potentially, yeah.
This
is the product they assured us they were not making. We're not doing a search engine. What's wrong with you people?
Have you tried it at all? So I'm infinitely fascinated by algorithms, especially like the search algorithms and how they work and whatever else. Just because like they dominate so much of your life. But anyways, not to go down that rabbit hole. But if you it works. Like SearchGPT works. However, there's a very clear fault to it with if you want like real
Well,
time
first of all,
information.
I assume it summarizes. Like, I assume part of the point of this is you don't get a list of blue links. You get
You kind of do.
okay. Well,
Like,
but maybe that's because that's what's familiar. But do they let you know, like Google, a lot of
yeah,
searches
no,
maybe.
it summarizes the result and then there's a link and whatever else.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so what I asked it, I said, give me the top 10 headline, most recent news headlines about Start 11, and it's pulling old stuff, unfortunately.
Right.
However, it does do exactly that. So I think if you're searching for stuff that's not like time sensitive, it'll probably be good.
This
If
is
you're
yeah.
searching for
This is the
headlines,
Achilles heel right now with AI stuff.
yeah,
It's been trained on something that is not super current. This is where I think Google could rebound nicely, where they integrate
mm-hmm.
their traditional search results, which have always worked really well, assuming they don't screw with it, and then the AI stuff that summarizes and things. You have to have like a contextual understanding of what they're asking, right? If there's a earthquake happening somewhere in the world and someone types in earthquake,
Yep.
you need to
They,
not
yep.
give them general, library information about how earthquakes work, right?
Well, the one thing Google does exceptionally well is during the World Series, I wouldn't type Dodgers versus Yankees score. I'd say, what's the baseball score? And it knew what I was looking for.
There you go. That's exactly what I'm talking. Yeah, that's it. That's a great example.
So it's day one sort of thing. We'll see. I think obviously they're heavily invested. The interesting thing is, so it produced like 10 bullet points or whatever else. And the thing that fascinates me is, so like the top 3 were from Stardock, and then it listed like other sites that had covered it. So the question like I start in my brain is like, okay, how did it pick those
Who's in the
3
index?
sites?
Yeah.
Like what was the SEO that did all that?
I did see I didn't read about it. I just saw this happen. But the Wall Street Journal, for example, is one of the companies they partner with on this product, and so these are companies that have agreed to do this and are being paid in some way, right? They're getting whatever. So I don't recall getting an email from OpenAI, but I'll look for it. Maybe it went to my spam folder.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, like what is the SEO of AI? I don't know. Like
The SEO of AI. Yeah,
it's an emerging market.
Yeah,
Whatever. It's Friday.
sure is.